a long time since we've done a video, but here we are, we're back with another video with the Traptrix structure deck. Yep, well, the Traptrix deck, I should say. Now, when I say structure deck, I mean you can play straight up 3 structure decks, straight up. But here's the Traptrix profile. So, literally what I would say with this, buy 3 structure decks and then take out the cards you don't need and put in the other stuff. So, we're going to start off with the monsters. We're going to have 3 Arachnacampa. This card is very good, the Arachnacampa. And the reason why Arachnacampa is such a good card, because not only can you special summon the Arachnacampa if you control a Traptrix monster, which is a free rank 4 extender or free link extender, but also if it's still on the field, it protects your set back rows from being destroyed by card effects. So it's very versatile both ways. And you run 2 Dionea, because Dionea is like a must. It's one of the older Traptrix, it's a must. When normal summoned, you bring back a Traptrix from graveyard, effect activates when special summoned, or when Dionea is special summoned, you reset a whole trap card. So it's very versatile, but you only really need 2 of, you don't need to run more than 2 of it. And then 3, you run 3 Mantis. Mantis is very good because it's like the Stratos for the archetype. You normal summon it, search out a Traptrix monster. So 3 is a must. And then the best card in the monster lineup here, Myrmeleo. This is the best because this is what gets your engine running as far as searching for your trap card. So you must run triple Myrmeleo because what Myrmeleo does is you look for a normal trap card. Add 1 whole normal trap card, which is what the whole point of Traptrix are. So this is a must because you go Mantis if you don't have this, and you search into Myrmeleo. But that's what the whole point of the. So you must run triple Myrmeleo. And then here's another must at 3 is 3 Pudicum. And why do you run 3? Okay, now you don't have to run 3 Pudica. Now if you run, when we get to the spells, if you run 1 Garden, 2 Pudica is more than enough. If you run 3 Gardens, 3 Pudica is a must. And also Pudica's special summon effect is very good too, because when special summoned, you banish one of your opponent's special summon monsters. But you run either 2 or 3, but I would say with this build, run 3. And then we move into the non-Traptrix monsters. This is a must because you're running a rank 4 heavy deck, so you do a lot of rank 4 summoning. So you have to run 2 Parallel Exceeds. Now, Parallel Exceed is not semi-limited, but you don't need 3. Why you don't need 3? Because when you summon your Parallel Exceed by special summoning it, you grab the other one, and you special summon the other one. Now you have 2 on the field. Now you drew into 1. What's the use of it? It's a dead card in your hand now. That's why you only ever run 3 Parallel Exceeds. It's a great extender to go into if you don't have anything else after making Sarah. It's good to go into Pengu. I don't know the full name. The new Exceed Pengu. If you already have Pengu, you can go into Rafflesia, or you can go into Time Thief. You know, there's so much plays with Parallel Exceed. So I would definitely recommend running 2 no matter what. And then for the hand traps, just 1 hand trap is all you really need in this deck because, you know, it's a trap heavy base deck. You just run 3 Ash Blossoms. That's it. Just triple Ash. You don't need any more. Just that's it, you know, and everybody knows what Ash Blossom does. Very useful. Then we move into spells. We have 3 Garden. Now, you can run triple Garden or 1 Garden. Never, ever run 2 Gardens, ever. This deck is not a double Garden deck. It's either 1 Garden or 3. And I choose to run 3 because there's a lot of back row destruction, spell, and trap removal. So you always want to have the backup for another Garden, because Garden is very good. When you activate Garden, it not only it protects your Traptrix monsters from being destroyed, because it literally states once during each battle, each of your Traptrix monsters cannot be destroyed that one time. So if you have like 4 Traptrix monsters and they attack each one individually, they don't die. They have to attack them twice, each one of them, for it to die. And then also it gives you an additional normal summon to normal summon additionally another Traptrix monster. And on top, you banish a Traptrix monster. You have to special summon a Traptrix monster from your graveyard. So let's say they got rid of your Sarah and you need Sarah to go off. So you get rid of the one that you already used this effect, banish it, bring back Sarah, and then you go off. Or if you need anything to make extra plays, go for it. But definitely I would recommend running 3 Gardens. And then lastly, for spells, you run 1 Trap Tantalizing Tune. It's not a great card. It's a decent card, but it's like a neutral. It's like a hand neutral card. Kind of like Upstart Goblin, you know. You activate Upstart, you draw 1 card, you discard 2, draw 2. So it's like you're activating this, you discard, and then you draw. The only really good part about this is when you have your banish level 4 insect or plant. I mean, or normal, depending on what you did there, right? You just put it in the bottom of your deck, but really, mostly it's just for the hand neutral. That's why you only run 1 of. Now we move into the main baseline of the deck, the trap cards. And we got a whole load of them. Now, you run 3 Gravediggers Trapple. Now, you don't have to run 3. You can run 1, you can run 2. I choose to run 3 because there's a lot of hand effects and graveyard effects. Now, if you meet a deck that has 0 hand effects, 0 graveyard effects, or very little graveyard effect or almost no hand effect, side these out immediately. And if you meet a deck that has a very little amount, like it's almost nothing, you side 2 of them out and you keep the 1. But always, I would say, always keep 3 in the starting duel, because you never know if your opponent plays a lot of hand traps, if they play a graveyard heavy focused deck. You know, so that's why I would say it's definitely worth it. Because also at the same time, here's another thing with the Gravedigger. Take 2,000. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about the banish effect, because the only deck that it would hurt is Kashtira. So if you're playing Kashtira, obviously you're going to keep it. But you get it. It's like a good burn bonus. And then next, you want to run 3 Terrifying Trap Hole Nightmare. Why do you want to run 3 of? Because literally most opponents' big monsters, what are they? They are 2,000 or more attack. So obviously when they special summon it, that turn you target one of them, activate, gone, bye bye. So you have to run 3 of no matter what. Then this is a very good card. For the longest time this card was useless, but in this format it's very, very powerful. Floodgate Trapple, and you must max out on it. I know some of you are looking, oh, Floodgate Trapple, oh, this card sucks. This card was never good. Why do I want... Look, you meet Kashtira, face down, no effect. You meet a deck that... Because there's a lot of... It's an Exceed heavy format, so they go into an Exceed monster like Zeus. You activate Floodgate on summon. Set the Zeus so they can't activate Zeus. What else is there? There's so many that they do. They summon their boss monster from their deck or their hand that activates an effect. You set it immediately, no effect. It's very versatile, very, very, and it's much in this deck in Traptrix. It's better than running Book of Eclipse or Book of Moon in the main deck. So definitely Floodgate Trapple, but definitely is mostly against the Kashtira. Then we run 2 Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare. Now, you can run 3 if you'd like, but a better consistency is 2, because your opponent's not always going to activate a special summon monster's effect that turn it was special summoned. So, and with this format, a lot of people know that, oh, there's going to be a lot of Traptrix, so they're going to be like, I don't have to activate this effect. I'll wait till next turn. So when they do it next turn, it wasn't a monster that was special summoned that turn. so you can't. So that's why I would say 2 is better than 3, because 3 is kind of cloggy in my opinion. And then you run 3 Traptrix Holotea. Now, some people run 3. I think 3 is cloggy, because Holotea, mostly it's, you set it, activate it, summon it, it's treated as a monster, so they can't do anything about it when you activate it. So it's more like an extender for like Exceed plays or Link plays, and also it's a good protector. That's mainly mostly the reason you do it, but then there is another part to it. If you read exactly, you can banish this card from your graveyard and target one Traptrix monster in your graveyard, special summon in. So that's like a bonus. So that's why you'd run 2 instead of 3, because you're not always doing that, because there are other cards that are in your deck that do it a lot quicker than Holotea. But Holotea, still I would run 2 Holoteas for sure. Then for the last trap hole card is Time Space Trap Hole. Definitely run 2. I tested with 1, it's slow. I would run 2 of, because it's a good trap hole, because mostly in this format you don't want to send cards to graveyard to go off if anything. You rather shuffle them right back in, so it's like they use an extra deck monster. They waste space, they waste materials, waste cards to make that extra deck monster. Now it goes back to the deck shuffled. They bring out their boss monster from their deck, a big monster from their deck or their hand, put it right back. They use their normal summon and the effect needs to go off. You can Time Space Trap Hole them and immediately goes right back. So it's pretty much a very good interruption. So definitely run 2 ofs. Now we move into regular traps. We have the 2 Imperm. You can run 3 Imperms if you'd like, but I'd rather just run 2 Imperms and add more cards in here. So like if you're gonna run 1, if you're choosing to run 1 Garden instead, make that an additional Imperm. If you're looking to run, you know, if you're looking to run 2 Grave Diggers or 1 Grave Digger, I would say run 2. You can make that an Imperm instead, right? So I would say 2 is a good build based on this. Now we got the Solemn. Next we got the 2 Solemn cards. And then now here's the other thing where I was saying, if you run 1 Garden instead, because you're running 1 Garden, you make it 1 Imperm and an extra Judgment and then a Strike. I would always recommend running 1 Judgment, 1 Strike in this build. Now, if you like, you could do double Judgment instead, but I would say 1 Judgment and 1 Strike is very good, because Judgment literally stops any spells, traps, or monster effects. Okay, now not any, it's literally just activate. Always versatile. And then Strike just literally just says, when a monster special summoned, well, negate it and destroy it. So like, let's say there's a monster effect that activates on summon. Because what you do is you go any of these trap hole cards, normal trap hole cards, they're still successfully summoned, but then they get destroyed. So if they have an on summon effect, their on summon effect still goes off without them. Strike says negate that and then destroy it. So not only do you stop like a card like, let's say Unicorn, Fenrir, like cards like stuff like that have an on summon effect, or even like you play against Traptrix and they have an on summon effect. You're negating it and destroying them. Even against any deck. So that's why I would say this is good. 1 Judgment, 1 Strike. And again, if you choose to cut down on your Garden, add an additional Judgment and an additional Imperm. Now we move into the extra deck. So the extra deck is very simple. The main run-of-the-mill 3 Sarahs, because no matter what, you always want Sarah. Your opponent's going to try to get rid of Sarah, so what do? You go triple Sarah, no questions, right there. So if they get rid of 1, you have another, because it's very easy to do, and it's the combo starter on your turn and your opponent's turn. Must be at 3, no less, no... Okay. Then we have 1 Kularia. Kularia is only good to go to because if you want to have a protection, you know, not a protection, more like an extra play. Like you go Kularia, you put it, so this is what you would do with Kularia. You have Sarah already out, so you go Kularia right here, you activate one of your trap hole normal cards, then you activate Kularia effect to reset it, and then you end your turn, bring back a Traptrix monster from your graveyard. So that's why you'd run 1 Kularia. You run one a Typus, because a Typus is good only if you really want to really destroy and disrupt your opponent's board and go for the kill. You go a Typus. And if you don't have really anything in your graveyard as far as normal trap cards, don't go into a Typus. You have to have at least 3 or more, so if you want to interrupt your opponent, plus it gives that 1000 boost to your monsters. And then this I'm still playing around with, but I'm thinking of cutting it down to 2. I'm thinking of cutting Pinguicula to 2, because I usually only make 2. I never make the 3rd. But if you want to run 3, you can. I'm thinking of taking it out and playing something else, but you can run 2 or 3, but definitely 2 is a must. 3 is an extra if you choose, but definitely run 2 of. Then we have 2 Rafflesia. This is standard protection for the archetype. You protect your cards. It becomes a normal trap hole card on a quick effect, so that's pretty good. Then you have 1 Alamoris. It's a good card. It's only it's a situational card. When you meet the situation, you go into Alamoris and then you activate. That's why you only run 1 of. Then you run 1 Time Thief Redoer, because you're running a rank 4 control deck. Time Thief Redoer, when you go into it, you're constantly taking away cards from your opponent's deck and controlling the gameplay with Time Thief Redoer. You get spell, you draw, you get the trap, you destroy, you get they want to get rid of your Redoer, you have your monster effect, you banish it, it comes back on your standby phase, continue. So this is a very control-y, sacky card, must play, because you play a lot of rank 4s. 1 Dweller. I only threw Dweller because in case if there's any graveyard decks, just go Dweller, activate Dweller, bye-bye, shut down and lock the deck, because again, you're playing a lot of rank 4. Now, there isn't a lot of graveyard heavy decks this format, like it was last format with Tier Lords, but it's always a good backup. And then last, which I don't have, which is right here, is Double Zeus. You would want to run Double Zeus. Now, the reason I don't have Zeus, because I never needed Zeus, because well, I play heroes for the longest time, forever, and heroes don't need Zeus, so I never needed Zeus. But now that I need Zeus has shot up in price, so here we go, 2 copies of Zeus. Now, that's definitely, you have to run 2 copies. If you can't afford Zeus, I would go 1 Zeus and 1 any other rank 4 that's pretty good. But definitely 2 Zeus. And then also with this deck, actually, I would take out, because you're going to need to run Lord of Heavenly Prison in this deck, 100% to protect your back row. I would take that out for 1 Lord. Literally, I would take out the Trap Tantalizing Tune for 1 Lord of Heavenly Prison. I don't have a Lord of Heavenly Prison right now, because again, it's gone up in price and not easy to find. But if you have one, that's where I would substitute it. You could run 2 Lords if you'd like. But now let's move into the side deck. Now the side deck is anyone's preference, but based on this format, this is what you would play. Anything of the tribute card you can run. I'd rather play Lava Golem, but right now Lava Golem not easy to come by. Not until the 25th anniversary pack comes out in the next couple of, I think was it 2 or 3 weeks it comes out. Definitely Lava Golem going to be a lot easier to get, so definitely I would say 1 Lava Golem if you have that over a Kaiju or Spear mode, but definitely something like that. So I have 1 Godarla, definitely 2 Nibirus. I played 3 is bricky as hell. You want to run only 2 Nibirus, no more and no less. Literally what you're going to do in your side deck. And these are mostly for the Kashtira. Then you run 2 Droll and Lockbirds, because, you know, search heavy format. When you meet a search heavy deck, you droll them, they can't do anything. 2 is more than enough. And then you run triple Book of Eclipse, because if you meet Kashtira or you meet any spam deck that spam out a bunch of monsters at once, you Book of Eclipse. But mostly it's for Kashtira. And then because it's going to be a very back row heavy, trap heavy control format, this is what you're going to run for this format. You run 2 Cyclones, Or 3. If you can get 3, I don't have 3 Cyclones, that's why I only have 2. But if you have 3 Cyclones, I would recommend 3 Cyclones. Harpy Feather Duster and a Forbidden Lance. Now, why Forbidden Lance? Because read the last text. But is unaffected by effects of other spells and traps. Which means if your opponent has any spells or traps to stop you, well, too bad. Like if you meet another Traptrix deck. Obviously, the mirror match is shit, but people know, oh, I'm going to bring these non-normal hole trap cards in. You go Lance. Protection. You play against the Labyrinth. They want to destroy you with their traps. You Lance them. That's why Lance is very good. And then, again, if you have 3 Cosmic, I would definitely go 3 Cosmic, and I would... Harpies is very good too. And also, if you really, really want, I would replace the Lance for a 1 Twin Twister. But this is a good setup for the back row heavy format. And then we have 2 Evenly Match. Because in this deck, no matter what, with this deck, no matter what, you go first in game, if you go first game 1, your opponent is no matter what, because you're going to lock them out for sure 9 times out of 10. So what your opponent will do is they will go, okay, I'll go first this time. Because they know a trap heavy deck, you're screwed. So what do? They set up a big play and they go, ha, you can't stop me. So that's where you side in your evenly matches and get rid of your trap hole cards that are useless going second. And you play double evenly, and on your turn you go evenly, and they're screwed. Like literally, you go on their end phase, you go evenly. Now they're screwed, right? Perfect card right there. And then lastly, 1 Imperial Iron Wall, because, well, against Kashtira, if you meet Kashtira, they're going to want to banish the crap out of your cards and banish their own cards. So you just run Imperial Iron Wall. And if they go Arise Hard, you go, okay, Iron Wall, bye-bye, hi, no good for you. But you only run 1. If you have Artifact Lancia, you're better off playing Lancia over Iron Wall, because Iron Wall is more easier to out in this format. So with Lancia, even if they outing it through the spell and trap zone, which locks them. So, but I don't have in Lancia, but if you don't have Lancia, you do Imperial Iron Wall. Oh, there you go. There's the Traptrix deck. The main combo piece, Sarah, right there. So there's the Traptrix deck right there. And Traptrix, very powerful, because I've done very well with the Traptrix deck. So if you want to build the Traptrix decks, I highly recommend building it. And you could just get 3 structure decks and take out what you don't need for a few other additions. It's cheap. For under $100, you could build this deck. If you don't want to play with the heavy cards like the Zeuses and the Lord of Heavenly Prisons and all those higher rarity. If you just want to play without those, under $100, you can get this deck. No problem. Anyways, remember, as always, get your game on!